All right, it is Tuesday, June 17th, 2025, 6 o'clock p.m. We'll now call the Grayson County Planning Commission to order at this time. Opening business is approval of the agenda. We have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now move right along. Everybody should have received in your packet the meeting minutes from May the 20th. Has everyone had an opportunity to an opportunity to review those, and any amendments need to be made?
I move we approve the minutes as presented.
Have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from May the 20th, 2025 as presented. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Meeting minutes approved from May 20th. Now leads us into a little bit of old business. Have a Deer Creek update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to give the Planning Commission a little debrief, the Planning Commission had requested staff to take a look at the language in the special use permit and in our zoning ordinance to be able to help Deer Creek with a situation regarding internal property lines. So I had a conversation with County Attorney Michael Lockaby. Matter of fact, we finally got some conversation wrapped up around the 9th of this month, and his suggestion, I had originally said something about vacating the subdivision plat and adding the language, and then the other thought was to amend the special use permit. So the simplest process would be for those that weren't here and you read it in your minutes, the Deer Creek Motor Coach Resort out on Edmonds Road has structures that are encroaching upon the lot lines greater than 10 foot. So it's zoned rural farm, lot line setbacks to sides and rears, internal are all 10 feet. Things have been happening out there in the past without permits, and so the new president and the new HOA members are wanting to get into zoning compliance. So they've asked the Planning Commission last month to try to help them, because what's happening is the people that actually own those lots are really would like to do some of the things that others have done without permits. So a lot of it is outdoor kitchens, pergolas, and the nature. So they had spoke to the Planning Commission and asked if there was something that they could do. Leading up to the attorney, he suggested that this can actually be done, but it would have to come from a zoning standpoint, stating in section 5-11, which is for special use permits, that the Board of Supervisors would need to add language to the zoning ordinance that would give them the right to, or the expressive authorized in itself to be able to vacate or reduce the setbacks. The other thing he suggested was that once that is done and the board approves that, we could turn around and do a vacation of those setbacks inside of their special use permit.
Would this just be for that?
It would be for that particular special use permit, but this would give the Board of Supervisors a little more latitude into helping in special use permits. So if this ever came back up, they would have the right, they've authorized themselves to make those changes. So if it was to ever come up, it would be there. That language would explicitly be there for them to make those changes to setbacks. But right now, it's 10 foot. And so until we can get that language in the ordinance and then amend the special use permit, then only then can we fix the issue.
Yeah, I think their concern was without fixing it, property owners are going to sell and move. New prospective buyers aren't going to buy.
Right. Yeah,
There's
so
a
it
potential.
would end up being a derelict campground out there. So they don't want to see that happen because actually it is a high-end motor coach resort. And so the property real estate out there would be something that we don't want to lose.
And I think they brought up that the resort brings in around $150,000 in business.
Yeah, so just to the county. So that was the situation that happened last month. But I did ask Mr. Lockaby to help formulate the language. So we haven't heard back from him yet, though. So that is the update. Right now, we're just waiting on Mr. Lockaby to formulate the language. I'll present it to the Planning Commission. Then we can hold a public hearing if it's adequate, or if we need to make changes to it, or if there's anything else that while we're doing it in the public hearing process, if there's any other amendments that we need to shore up in the zoning ordinance. I know of a couple definitions that would need to be added. I know when we done the Mountain Ridge overlay, forgot to add in that group home. You remember us talking about the group home that definition needed to be added. But I don't know if I want to open up all those can of worms. We can do it another day, I guess, if we have to. But now that's where we're at with Deer Creek. So, and I told Mr. Carter, they came and saw me on Thursday last week, and I told them where we were at, and they liked that idea.
Well, sounds reasonable.
All right. Any questions about that? All righty, moves us right along into the review of a special use permit application concerning U.S. Cellular Communications Tower and related equipment, application 202-50289. Tax map number 66-A-102. Turn it over to staff at this time.
All right. In your board packet that was emailed to you, there was 118 pages worth of documents that I shared with you. Everything from the application, the staff report, the FAA lighting, and historical resources information. Gosh, there was a lot of information. One thing that I will mention that you did not receive in your staff packet, because I was waiting on this to come through, was photo simulations. However, I emailed all that to Brian. I compressed that email, or compressed it earlier and emailed it to you. And the photo simulations are on the back page of that, in addition to a tax map parcel from the GIS if we need to pull that up as well.
Correct.
Tonight, we also have with us via virtual Zoom is Miss Emily Lauer. She is with U.S. Cellular. She is the agent for this application. And I would just give you a debrief. I'm not going to go through my entire staff packet, as I know you've had time to read that, but I'll give you a debrief on what those 118 pages say. So again, the applicant is U.S. Cellular. The application number is 20250-289. The location of this tower is 3807 Grassy Creek Road in the Wilson District. It is zoned rural farm. The proposal for this particular application is to construct a 244-foot communications tower. So U.S. Cellular is currently seeking a special use permit to construct and operate the 244-foot freestanding communications tower with co-location capacity for 4 carriers, including the Grayson County E911 equipment. The proposed site is located on 63.9 acres. It is currently being used as a tree farm. And the tower exceeds 100 feet and includes FAA required lighting, necessitating a special use permit based off of the county's regulations. The application was properly advertised as required under 15.22204 of the Code of Virginia. Advertisements were placed in the declaration on May 28th and June the 4th. Additionally, 9 certified letters were sent to all adjoining landowners, and of the 9, 4 letters have been received. And I base that off of the green cards that come back. However, our mail system is rather slow, so it could be that others have received them. Some of the key details in this particular application: as part of the ordinance, we look at several factors. Design. This particular design is galvanized lattice tower with dual lighting. Based off of the elevation, it will require white light during the day and red at night. The setback here, though, we've got a little bit of challenge. There was 414 feet from the nearest residence, and that's actually a garage. A variance has been requested. The variance application is placed in your board packet, but the minimum setback requirement for a communications tower is 500 feet. Access from VDOT has been approved. There are some conditions that VDOT threw out there in your board packet. Part of the recommendations from staff indicated that VDOT wanted flaggers and no mirrors in the right of way.
Is that all the time or just?
No, it's just during construction of the, they want flaggers. Then another part of the key details that we're looking at are the utilities, which no water or sewer is needed for this. However, electricity will need to be added. The environmental impacts was reviewed by the historic resources, and there was no historic sites, and no tree removal will be required here. As far as the public benefit, of course, it enhances the coverage of underserved areas of that portion of Grayson County. In addition to, it supports our E911 communications tower, which is part of our broadband initiative and our communications for rescue and fire and sheriff's department. I will make mention that this particular tower is part of the board of supervisors push to get broadband and E911 communications on the upper end. It does meet the zoning and communication tower regulations, and it is FAA and FCC documentation was submitted. Engineering certifications and visual simulations are provided, and additionally, there are no existing towers within the 3-mile range that they need. As far as public comment goes, of course, we will open up public comment here in a minute, but prior to us opening up public comment, I did receive a telephone call from Mr. Paul Johnston on June the 9th after receiving the letter. His only concern at this point was the source of power, from which direction the power would actually be supplied. He specifically stated that he would not approve of the service coming across his property. I would not be happy with that. He also wanted me to mention that the service in this particular location was very unreliable. And as they are usually the last ones to ever get power restored during an event. And he wanted that to be on record so that US Cellular knew that. As far as my staff recommendations go, in the staff packet, you've seen that I did suggest approval contingent upon the 5 factors. That the Board of Supervisors grants the residential setback from 500 feet to 414, which in the regulations they can do if they see fit. That US Cellular adheres to all VDOT construction access conditions, the flagging and no mirrors in the right-of-ways. That the project is completed and all permits and inspections are done satisfactorily, and that the maintenance for co-location capacity is maintained and compliance with the lighting and fencing standards that are in the plans are adhered to. So as part of our due diligence tonight, the Planning Commission, your job tonight is to either recommend approval or denial of this special use permit to the Board of Supervisors. Of course, hear public comment, and we will need to also make a recommendation, if approved, as to whether or not the variance would be recommended for approval to the Board of Supervisors. With that being said, that's all I've got in summary. Does the Planning Commission have staff questions for me before we go in further?
I do have one. The email that's attached in the packet.
In the board
from,
packet?
Yes, from Mike Phipps.
Right.
With PDOT. Now, it says he had some concerns, but those have been
They
resolved,
have been resolved.
and that is
The conditions were
flaggers.
that flaggers and no mirrors in the right of ways.
Okay. I may have overlooked where it said it was resolved, but I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, and it was addressed in the new plans submitted and is currently in review with A&T, our erosion sediment control specialist.
The construction, the lighting, is that consistent with the other towers in the county?
Depending upon the elevations, most are not lit, depending upon where they are. Specifically, this one, due to the elevation and where it is at, will require lighting, which is required by the FAA.
Now, when we talk about the lighting on the tower, is it one of these that kind of show the airplanes and everything? There's towers stuck in?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big, it simulates, it flashes.
Right, so it's,
Basically what the town is.
right, so it's really not gonna shine downward, it's gonna shine upward, right?
And that in your board packet, there is a plan for the lighting. I believe it is spelled out in the staff report on what page that's on. It's on Exhibit I, which is can't read upside down. Exhibit G in your board packet.
This area is basically a cell dead area.
Yes, sir. So it's the FAA and the FCC, which is required. And it's analysis based off the airspace. Now it's an airspace analysis for that particular site on Quillen Ridge. It says per airspace filing and FAA Form 7460-1 is required for the proposed monopole height of 245 feet. That is with the lightning rod. The maximum allowable height for not filing an FAA Form 7460 is 201 feet. So it exceeds the height, which would require lighting. FCC tower air determination indicates that the structure requires registration. The The antenna structure is taller than 60.96 meters, which is 200 feet, and does not meet the criteria for the 6.10 meter or 20-foot rule exception. The maximum allowable height for not filing an ASR is 201 foot. So they've also this talks about the dual lighting, which is medium intensity white lights in the day and red lights at night is requested.
That's important. There's a lot of low-level aircraft flying in this area.
Yes, sir.
I even used to do it myself.
Any other questions? Commission? If there is none at this time, let's see, do we need to have, what'd you say?
Emily Lauer is the agent for US Cellular, and she's with us tonight virtually. Emily, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
All right, Miss Emily, we're going to open up the floor to you if you would like to address any comments or concerns that you heard from the Planning Commission or anything about my staff report, or just in general, if you'd like to give us an update on anything that you or we may not be aware of.
Okay, yes, absolutely. Thank you all so much for having me. Again, my name is Emily Lauer, and I'm representing US Cellular. You did a great job of covering pretty much everything through the packet of what I typically go through. And you answered the question on the FAA for the lighting, all of that. Really just be happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Emily, I have one question for you that kind of came up and I didn't get to ask before tonight's meeting. I know this is stemmed from the Grayson County Board of Supervisors to expand communications into that part of the community. As far as US Cellular goes, US Cellular now is just doing the build out of the towers. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
So I know that E911 communications will be placed on this tower, but is there any possibility that we will be seeing any kind of co-location from another source so that we can get better cell reception out there?
I honestly cannot answer that. US Cellular, of course, will be on there, but until somebody else, some other carrier like, T-Mobile, Verizon, anybody like that, they would have to actually come in and they would submit a colo application to US Cellular. And typically, just in the wireless world, just to give you an idea, typically engineers, these projects and areas they need, they just kind of pop up, if they have lots of complaints or if they're trying to fill in gaps, things like that. So I believe that would be the same assumption that other carriers would make. So hopefully they will, but there's really no way to determine that at this time.
Okay, so will US Cellular be a carrier there then?
Yes, ma'am, they will. They will be at the top of the tower, and then the county will be down below.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the county is a good spot on the tower.
Yes, this is to be able to help our emergency services be able to communicate better from that end of the county. We do have some dead spots in that.
Are there any radiation issues associated with this?
No, sir. Everything they do is by the guidelines of the FCC. And so there is no determining hazards at this time that they have noted to date.
Have you experienced any safety concerns or, anything for the community as far as, after the tower is constructed?
Can you clarify, like, what you
Well,
mean on safety?
Is there any such debris that may blow off of it or anything like that that might affect, the community?
No, sir. No, sir. It is all designed, per the wind, snow, load, all of that for the area is how they design all of the equipment to attach.
Is the construction certified to meet local wind speed requirements?
Yes, sir. They do follow local, state, federal guidelines on that.
That will be something that the building department also will address in their review, if approved. Additionally, I will add that in the staff packet, there is a collapse. And when it engineered, it would collapse within the compound. If it was to collapse based off of higher wind than,
Supposed to.
right, it
Hold
will
up with
buckle
that.
in.
How would they get electricity out there?
Good question. Emily, that was one concern we had from Mr. Johnston, which is the closest neighbor. I do know inside of the staff or the engineering packet, it does show an electrical easement, which comes from Grassy Creek. Can you confirm that that is the way that the electricity will be coming across to this tower if approved?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. They will work with the power company to come from Grassy Creek, to run up through the parcel, through the easement that they've been granted by the landowner.
Okay, that is what I wanted to ensure, Mr. Johnston, excuse me. I did tell him that the easement was there in the plans and that was satisfactory. He felt that it was, if this was the landowner's responsibility if he was gaining or, receiving compensation, that it should come across the tree farm and not any residential pieces of property. So I will let him know. I just wanted to clarify that, and I thank you, Mr. Ballard, for bringing that up.
Is this easement cross his land?
Yes, the easement in the packet, you'll note in C-1, which is page 4 of the plan, it spells out an easement, and it is I can't even remember how long this easement is.
Was that Exhibit C?
C-1 in the plan of
Okay.
in the plan. So, page 5 actually has the exclusive easement area. And then there is a 20-foot non-exclusive access for fiber and utility easement.
Is that above ground or below ground?
Ms. Lauer, would that be above or below ground?
They typically run underground unless the power company, tells us otherwise, but typically underground.
Okay.
And sometimes it may result in, a drop pole at the right of way and then to go underground just to get it from, where it exists now to that easement and then to go underground.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions, Commission, for Ms. Lauer? All right. Thank you, Ms. Lauer, for being with us tonight.
Yes, thank you all so much, and please let me know if you have any other questions.
Yes, if you'll just hang around a minute, we'll trying to finish up.
All right. Commission, do we have a motion to enter into the public hearing at this time?
So moved.
Have a motion, do we have a second? Have a second, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are now entered into the public hearing concerning the application for the communications tower.
I'll get signed sheet.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. When we call your name, podium right now, but you can just stand up where you're at. If you choose to speak and introduce yourself and state your name and address where you live, and share with us what you have. So, back to you. Let's see. Mr. James Hayes. Sorry.
My name is James Hayes. My address is 3891 Grassy Creek Road. Received this certified letter concerning this tower. 2 or 3 different things that I want to bring up. It says the Quillen Ridge Tower. Are they going to access off the Quillen Ridge Road to this? Or are they going to access off the Grassy Creek Road to get to this tower? And where is the tower going to be located? Is it going to be on the back of the property? Or is it going to be sort of in behind my house? Because if it is, then I'm going to have issues because
What the GIS?
because that's going to ruin my property value if I ever want to sell. Just like y'all brought up about the river lots and stuff, so.
All right, so we are coming in off of the Grassy Creek Road. 100-foot construction entrance that will come road, and then the planned space is the far south corner, right in there. It's more. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah.
It's more like.
Because this map's wrong, because I don't go all the way to Murray, it cuts off right here to this field.
Okay.
So this is the property line that Charles Watts owns this property. So, but that's fine, if it's up here because my residence is down here.
Sure, but yeah, please be mindful that these GIS lines are just interpretations.
Well, I know, but I mean.
And so if it's wrong, then we would love to know where it's at and
I
get
was
it
just-
addressed.
The reason I said it, because I was about to lose 3/4 of an acre of property, and Justin come fix the fix because of your all's map.
So,
So that's why I want to make sure, because I don't want to be in any shape or form. We need the tower, but I have cell phone service, so does several other. So it ain't the 911 stuff, yes, we do. 'Cause I'm with that. But I mean, we want everybody, and just like the gentleman brought up, just today, there was 2 of those low flying planes that barely come across the top of my hill right here. They come across, and I mean, they're gonna be way under that tower.
and that is the reason that they do have to be registered, so that they will know that in their instruments that there is a tower.
They should be flying at 600 feet above the terrain.
And they don't, we all know that.
Yeah.
I get super excited when I see it.
But I mean, we wanna make sure this thing, the power, if we're bringing the easement, if the power is plumb down here and this blind intersection, that they can't get in there. So the power line's right here. Goes across, here's my residence, here comes the power line. So you look from here, plumb to that, how far that is. That's probably 4,000 feet of it. So, I mean, from there, I mean, that's a long ways, and that terrain is steep, so I mean, that's why I got the letter, and I wanted to come, and I just didn't want it being put behind my house, because if I was gonna sell something, we don't want that, because that antenna there. And and then it being 240 feet. I mean, didn't dream about it being that tall. Because evidently that'll be the tallest one in Grayson County. If I'm not mistaken.
The one we done at Fees Ridge was,
I thought the one down at Baywood. It's the same kind of construction, look like, out in the middle of a hayfield.
so you were concerned about your location.
Yeah, the location, wanting to find out because it's 63 acres or whatever, where's it going to be? So, and I mean, like I say, it's on the backside of the property and stuff, but it's still, it's concerning. I mean, that's.
In other words, you just didn't want it right there behind your
Well,
house.
I mean, no, but the other issue is because this is a Quillen Ridge Tower and it coming off of Grassy Creek is false information.
I'm going based off of what was provided in the application, please.
And I mean, I'll bring it up because they was gonna put the tower on me at one time,
Sure.
but we was coming off the Quillen Ridge Road
Oh,
to get to it.
gotcha.
And I still thought that was going on until I was notified in March that they changed locations. So, but I mean, that's beside the point. Mr. Johnston's right there and he's gonna be right at it. And I know he's gonna have concerns too, just like me. Because I mean, that's gonna affect his property because it's right under him.
The simulation, photos that were provided, and I'm not supposed to be talking.
You're fine.
I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to be talking in public comment. Simulation show that the tower will not be able to be seen from his location, because of the tree coverage.
And that's a possibility, but I mean,
You know, there's supposed to be a natural buffering around it, so.
but that's all the questions that I have.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Now, Miss Heather Henderson.
Hey there. All right, yeah, so I am across the street from Mr. James. I am,
Yeah, all that.
yeah, that's me. I've worked my entire life just to get home. This is my place that I came to heal and to live. We can see the stars. We can, there is no awfulness there, I adamantly oppose this close to us for his health, his wife and his family's health, my health as well. I know that there is different opinions upon it. There's been all kinds of scientific research done. There's tons of scientific research that needs to be done. It is a new thing within our world. It's not good for us. There is no way, shape, or form that kind of tower that does have radiation. I mean, it is something that is a energetic thing that our bodies are not supposed to be around. So I'm all for towers, but not around anyone's home, not around anyone's life. I know James, I've known James since I was a baby. That's my home, and I don't want anything like that around.
How far is it from your house?
Well, I am building, and I'm in a tent. So right now, it is literally,
Right across the road.
yeah, can you help me here? I mean, I'm just right here.
She's
Yeah, right
right across the road. Here's where you come in, and this is all her property right here. And she's staying right here on this line. But she doesn't have no buffer. She's gonna look at that tower
All the
day
time.
and night.
And
There's nothing there but thin air.
it kills me to even think about that being here. Please, 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 don't do this. I know that not a lot of people are affected by this, but we are. And we are out there in the middle of nowhere, and that's where we want to be. I don't want to see something like that. It's not fair. 2, 5, 10 of us out of the community to have to deal with that. So I just beg y'all, please don't let that happen. I don't know what else to say besides I came here to heal and to live the rest of my life. If I'd have known that, I'd have solved it. I was blessed by God and my family that I am able to be there. That is the last thing that I need in our life. I'm sorry I'm crying, but it is very important to me that that doesn't happen. And to my friend. He is my friend, and I know that it will affect him and his family probably more than me. They won't see it the way that I will. It will be the beacon, you know, where I see stars and the moon and now, and that is, I don't want to have to leave because of that. Please don't allow that. And is Shivas going to have any kind of monetary gain from this? I mean, or is it just him being kind and letting them put it on his land? Because if it's a monetary gain, that's wrong. So that other people suffer? And I don't know if you guys know about all the different health issues that it causes, but whenever I come up close to a transfer, you know, like the big electric transfers where all the lines go, I get the most excruciating headache. It makes me sick. I mean, I am totally affected by that. I know I'm just one person and I really don't matter, but please.
Thank you very much.
I've got one thing, if I could, that was one of my 3 things that I was gonna bring up, but I didn't do it too long. If I could bring the third item back up, just for a second.
We'll let you go ahead.
Just for a second. Sorry for taking your all's time, but the third thing that I wanted to bring up, there's a piece of property that is behind this that is owned by Bruner Sides, that there is no homes, there's nothing around that you all commission. I would love for you to go up and to look at, and I'm sure Mr. Sides would be willing to help the county and stuff, and it would get much better service than where you want to put it. There's power right there in it. So, and I mean, there's a good road going up in. I mean, I would ask that you all would consider looking at that piece of property just for an extra place that would move it away
From anyone's home.
from not anybody's home, and Heather wouldn't be seeing that 24/7. So, I mean, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Do we have a motion to dismiss from the public hearing?
I so moved.
Have a motion. Do we have a second? Have a second. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're now dismissed from the public hearing. Commission, any thoughts, concerns, discussion?
Is the lady still with us?
Emily?
is.
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, yes.
My question is, an alternate site, an option as suggested by the gentleman.
No, what now? Sorry, I didn't hear all the.
The gentleman who spoke suggested that there was an alternate site that would remove the antenna from the visual array. Is an alternate site an option?
I would have to ask US Cellular that in the county, of course. This is very elevation driven due to the 911 and US Cellular as well. That is kind of what made the tower end up being taller, was because they needed those line of sight to the other proposed towers that the board is working on as well, and US Cellular to get their, to be able to have communication from one tower to the next.
All right, so it's altitude sensitive.
Very, yes.
The place that I brought up is much better than where they want to put it. In all directions. It's higher, you can see plumb to the White Top Mountain, Pond Mountain area, from the second place I brought it.
Okay, that's out of our hands. We're just simply here to review this permit and approve or disapprove and send our decision to the Board of Supervisors. They will have the final determination. Commission, anything else? Thoughts, concerns?
Wonder if the company would be willing to look at an alternate site.
If it's the Bruder sides, they really don't have a peak point up top of a ridge. He said it's kind of behind a hillside on all sides.
So they,
He may be at the same elevation, but he's still gonna be behind the crest of the hillside.
Are you looking at the topo maps?
Commission, anyone got anything? Anyone have anything? Concerns, motion? Whatever.
We have them to look at that just to rule it out, that it wouldn't work.
Has to have a formulated motion. Put it to vote.
You're gonna be within a structure or so on that property than where it's at currently.
so the set aside would be even closer.
To be on the peak of a mountain, yes.
Ms. Lauer,
Yes.
are you familiar with what goes into planning a proposed location?
Yes, sir.
Could you share a little bit of that with us, please?
Yes, so the way it works is US Cellular, the engineer, will propose basically what we call a search ring. So it's, a circle on a map, and they ask us to engage landowners in that area. And we can get 0 people interested, we could have 5, 10 people interested, and we meet with them and we turn that information into the radio frequency engineer, which includes latitude, longitude, elevation. We basically give them a rundown of, access, utilities, all of that. And then the engineer comes back on the different landowners that are submitted and relays who is the best candidate to get, meet their objectives that they are after. In this case, we had to have the candidates reviewed by the Board of Supervisors as well as US Cellular, because the E911, of course, is going on here as well. So then once that is done, we engage the landowner that is chosen. They work out a lease between them and US Cellular. Once we get that in the works, we have a survey done, which is included in the drawings as you've seen, that shows the access, the lease area, all of that. They get like a 1A letter to know the exact elevation of the tower location. And then once we get all of that done, it moves to the engineers that do the drawings, as well as the same company does the environmental. So they're gonna submit to, the historical societies, the Native Americans, all of, everything that the federal government requires them to submit to, which is about a 120-day process that goes through. And then if they get any kickbacks from that, we have to incorporate that into the plans. In this case, we did not. So once that is complete, and then, everything in the drawings is done, we get all of that wrapped up. And then once you have the drawings done, we submit, to you all as a proposal, for the jurisdiction for zoning. And then, from there, if you're granted approval, you go to a building permit and, any other permits that are needed, like erosion, sediment, all of that.
I have a question.
Okay.
Is it possible that this alternate site has already been reviewed?
It could be, do you happen to have a name?
Bruna.
If you're able to
Bruder Sides property.
see.
It's basically an adjoining property.
Yeah, it's basically an adjoining property.
And it's off the Quillen Ridge Road.
And what his name was again?
Bruner Sides property off Quillen Ridge Road. It's an adjacent property.
I was trying to see if I have records of all the letters that were sent. All the tax maps I have saved include Mr. Hayes and another landowner and the Chaffetz property, which were ones who contacted back. I could do some digging and find that answer for you. Typically I don't save everybody if they don't respond as interested. We kind of just move on to those who are interested to proceed. But I can get you an exact answer if you would like that.
Is it possible to delay our decision till we get some kind of answer?
I'm open to motions. I don't know.
Would that be the owner's name or size of street?
And that's Bruna's house.
It's in Brenner's Island.
It's what?
It's in that guy's name on the tax maps.
And it'll be closer to Quillen, which is where,
There's probably a lot of costs involved to do that.
The power lines is within 500 feet probably.
Commission, what are y'all thinking? Questions, concerns?
To give the benefit of the doubt, to postpone and see what she comes up
Are you
with.
still there?
Yes, I'm here.
What's a rough estimate of the time and cost to consider this alternate position? Or maybe it's already been considered.
Sorry, repeat that. Sorry, your microphone's kind of break up a little
What's
bit.
a rough estimate of the time and cost to consider this alternate location? Or maybe it's already been considered.
The alternate one, yeah, I was just pulling up the GIS. Could you all verify, is it the 66A-A-1? Is that the one you all are referring to?
One second.
Oh,
66A-A-1.
66. And that point is higher than that point.
A
That's wide open space.
and it's
Don't look out York Ridge.
Which point?
Brian, can you drop that results button?
Which one? This,
I think he was trying to get to the actual parcel.
oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
just drop the results button down. There you go. And then go down there to,
This point right here, like we're at Bunch of Rose Bush,
Hold on. Technical difficulties. Oh, we're at,
to the right.
there you go.
And right here, there's the entrance, the power line's right here at the road. There's the entrance to the road going up. That's wide open, and they're up there. There's nothing but thin air.
So you're talking about the 66A-A-1?
Right there.
Emily, it's 66A-A-1.
Okay, all right, I just want to make sure. All right, yeah, I'm looking here to see if I can get you an answer
It's gonna
right
be-
now.
You're only moving it 900 foot from the field that it's asking permission for.
So it's only 900 foot from where we are now.
900 feet, but you're moving it away from everybody's view and our house. And so, I mean,
Call residents.
Mr. Sharp, you see what the argument is? Oh, man, hit the key.
let's see. All I see is just a white car. Can't see what it
This
is.
grid.
Chrysler? White Chrysler.
Yeah, they're driving off.
Oh, okay. Thought some boy man hit the key or
It's a
something.
red car, is
Got his wife. Right, still flashing.
Thanks, sir.
Well, you would think, there's some reason they're 900 foot one way versus the other.
Can you all still hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, it looks like, so that parcel is one that a letter was sent to. Now, I can't tell you if the letter arrived to them, but I was never contacted back from them. You know, I don't send every letter certified, of course, I just, send them in the mail and hope for whatever, so to get a response. But I do have that one as one I sent due to, I mean, typically, I'll be honest with you, when I look at these to send, I look for larger parcels that are, have more land to them. So yes, that was one that I sent a letter to originally back last year.
Okay. And you received no response from that owner?
Correct. Response. That is correct.
So it appears he was interested.
We would have took up, this pasture would have been fenced in that area, because that's mainly his pasture.
So there would have been a fenced in area. Well, the one down at Baywood's in the middle of a hayfield with a fenced in area. So. And that was quite controversial because of radiation concerns, which turned out to be not true.
Well, when we think about the comprehensive plan and the economic development and all, everything, put everything together, it's, it goes right along with the plan of the county.
It does.
The communications on that end is terrible anyway with E911.
So,
Well, we got a cell phone dead area. We got an emergency communication issue.
very much so.
It's really not a sign of that area.
Yes and no. On top of the no, but over the hill, yes.
No,
So
that's not.
probably be considerable expense to, re-examine this. Is the only reason this wasn't considered is because the landowner didn't, reply?
Yes, that is correct. If we don't have any interest from a landowner or receive any contact back, we just move forward with submitting the landowners who are interested.
But what if he didn't get a letter?
Cause I didn't get mine until 2 weeks ago.
Certified letter?
Yeah.
Oh, this would have been years, last year.
I did not get one last year.
It-
They might not have included your property though.
This is only the ones that's the properties they were looking at.
Did you get a letter, James?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they come and look, it was one put it on my property off the equipment. The headless is high, I mean.
Mine's higher than all of them.
So, I mean, she's got 32, so she should.
So why I didn't get one, I'm not sure. Mine is the spot that everybody goes to get cell phone service. I have to run people off daily.
Yeah, she's right there.
That's why I'm confused as why I didn't get a letter a year ago.
Commissioner's got to come up with something.
Why they send the guy another letter and he doesn't respond?
Well, I don't think it's, I assume it would be the US Cellular, whoever's in charge of the towers, contact the landowners of the interest.
This is not an eminent domain situation, is it? They cannot force the landowner to take it up.
Right. So that's our purpose tonight is to send some sort of motion to the Board of Supervisors. Whether we want to approve it, whether we want to deny it, whether we want to approve it on some stipulations.
Well, if the sides didn't reply, that doesn't appear to be an alternative anymore. Well, we need a cell tower. Meets all our requirements.
Still asking for the board of supervisors.
For the
For
supervisor.
final approval or disapproval.
I appreciate the lady's comments.
Absolutely.
Has nothing to do with you, but I went through this once before with the cell tower down in Maywood. It's been there for past 5 years now. People don't even notice it. Yeah. And the alternative that you all presented doesn't appear to be possible.
I mean, we don't know if it's possible. I mean,
Well, we can't have this argument and stuff, public comment is over, that's okay. We just, the commission has a discussion now, we have to do what we do. This side over here's been awful quiet, what do y'all think? That's
Well, I
good.
mean, if the letter was sent to him and he didn't respond,
Which indicates no interest.
but I mean, nobody's gonna know whether he got it because he didn't respond. So
It goes to the what
there's
ifs.
no way to
What
answer
if he
that.
did, what if he didn't?
It's just like the letters that I have in my packet here. 9 of them, 4 of them have not been returned to me. I don't know whether they got them or not. I won't know until those cards come back. And a lot of times, no one will ever pick them up, and I end up getting those returned back to me.
Yeah. And his wasn't sent certified.
Right,
You're
and,
not gonna
and,
get nothing back.
and they're not required to be sent certified. I'm required to send certified letters, but in this case, they're just obtaining information. It's not required for them to have to do that. So if the letter didn't get a reply, then genuinely, one would think that it was no interest because they're using the data that they have, which is typically correct for the mailing address.
And how long, I got a question, so how long did you, wait before y'all decided who to go with? When waiting on receiving those letters back or anybody contacting you?
Ms. Lauer, did you hear that question?
Yes, I did. We typically have 30 to 45 days to submit interested parties. So it would have been 30 to 45 days, and then I submit everyone who is interested, and then the radio frequency engineer also has up to 30 days to respond, who they would like to go with, and I never received anything back in that, 60-day time frame or a little more.
You said the tower is made to collapse inside itself.
Yes, we have engineering certification that was provided to us from Old Dominion Services. It says, upon receipt of the order, we propose to design a tower of the above referenced project for a basic wind speed of 116 miles per hour at a 30+ mile per hour plus 1 radial ice, risk factor 2, exposure category C, topographic method 2. Gives a little more mathematical equations, but in accordance with the Telecommunications Industry Association standard, the ANSI TIA 222H structural standard for antenna supporting structures, antennas and small wind turbine supporting structures. And it goes on to say, should the wind speed increase beyond the capacity of the built-in safety factors to the point of failure of one or more structural elements, the most likely location or failure would be within one or more of the tower members in the upper portion. This would result in a buckling failure mode where the load member would bend beyond the elastic limit or beyond the point of where the member would return to its original shape upon removal of the wind load. Therefore, it's likely that the overall effect of such an extreme wind event would be localized buckling of a tower section. Assuming that the wind pressure profile is similar to those used design the tower is most likely to buckle at a location at the highest combined stress ratio in the upper portion of the tower. This would result in a portion of the tower above failure location folding over and onto the portion of the tower below the failure location. It says, please note that this letter applies to the above referenced tower design and manufactured by Sabry Industries. It is unlikely event that total separation, and this would result in a fall radius within the 100-foot by 100-foot lease area at the ground. And it is certified by Robert Beacom, professional engineer of Virginia.
Am I allowed to ask a negative question?
Which
That's
way?
Mr. Chair.
Heather,
Ms. Anderson? Yeah, sure. That's
is
okay.
your only objection visual?
It was visual and health. I mean, as we all are concerned about our health, right? I'm concerned about my neighbor immensely, as well as myself. But also, it is, like you said, my place is higher, and that's what I see. I grew up right there, and that's been, our spot my whole life. But it's basically like right across the way, the driveway right there. It would literally shine right into my space all the time.
I think your concern about visual is valid, but the health issues have been pretty well debunked.
Okay, well then let's just talk about the devaluing of a property, you know, it's between 10 and 20% devalues the property. I mean, either way, I just ask that we just move it to where it's not, in anybody's either visual or home, space, that's all I'm asking.
It's not in our power to move it. We can ask questions.
Yes, sir.
We have no jurisdiction of moving it.
So if, may I?
Sure.
If we speak with Mr. Sides, and because he might not have gotten the letter, if we speak with him as a neighbor and ask him if he got the letter, if he did not, then can, you know, how do we go about that? Because he might not have gotten the letter.
How about me giving the number to the chairman and let him call Mr. Sides and just ask him? I've got his phone number.
I feel like that's Board of Supervisors' ultimate decision. Ours is this permit.
If we make a motion tonight to approve it, it goes to the Board of Supervisors, correct, for final approval?
You're right, and you have another chance for a
And-
public hearing, and you can express these concerns, and we can take
That
this.
would
Bring
be,
Mr. Sides
that
to
would
the
give
Back
Mr.
to-
Hayes and Ms. Henderson an opportunity to get in touch with Mr. Sides and come before the Board of Supervisors.
Next month.
So-
I think that's good, because it's not our position to
Correct.
go out and do all this.
Correct. We're just simply reviewing the permit to make sure that it complies with what's required in our comprehensive plan.
Our very capable staff is recommending approval.
So, you know, that's the, if you will, the appeal option that Ms. Henderson and Mr. Hayes has. They've got a month before it comes to the Board of Supervisors, and they can present their case to them, request the same thing to them. We have to dissect it here. However, our approval or disapproval, we have to send a decision to the Board of Supervisors concerning this simple permit.
What's on this application?
That's correct.
Our staff has recommended approval. We've discussed it. I appreciate the comments. I move we approve cell tower installation
As presented.
as presented.
All right, so that comes with conditions.
Yes. Conditions as stated.
And variance.
As it was presented to us. Would you like to share that one more time, please?
All right, so my recommendation was staff recommends approval of special use permit application 2025-00274. Is that not even the right number? 2025-2089, subject to the following conditions. That the variance approval for 414-foot residential setback and must be granted by the Board of Supervisors.
That's my motion.
The commission agrees with that. The construction, of course, by VDOT is that the conditions regarding the flaggers and spotters, and there's no mirrors in the right of way. Number 3 was all required permits and inspections must be complete, prior to operation, including all FFA, FCC, Grayson County Erosion Sediment Control Plans, Grayson County Building Department, review and approval. And co-location capacity must be maintained as outlined in the application and supporting documents. And that the lighting and fencing must comply with the FAA and county regulations.
So,
That is my motion.
so we have a motion to approve it. To approve the special use permit the way it is presented with the staff recommendations
Yes.
as shared with us. Do we have a second? Have a second. We'll take a roll call vote. If you don't mind.
Yes, sir. Mr. Boyer,
Aye.
Charlie, sorry. Ms. Ash? Mr. Bath?
Aye.
Mr. Moore? Mr. Watts?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. So the action, our decision will be approval with the staff recommendations will be sent to the board of supervisors, and any concerns can be addressed to the board of supervisors because they ultimately have final decision.
Right.
So
That board of supervisors meeting will be held on July 10th, 6:00 p.m.
my team.
Thursday.
Yep. Or thereafter. Sometime thereafter, 6:00.
On public comment, which is speed.
That they should have an open for public hearing, correct?
There's always another public hearing. Yes, sir. And there's where I would present those. But in the meantime, having that conversation with Mr. Science. And duly noted that, for the record, that the board of supervisors has already approved this site. Before we adjourn, so the planning commission knows, we will also be hearing next month another communications tower for White Park Place. And Miss Emily Lauer will also be with us then. This is another Grayson County Board of Supervisor project for E911.
Okay. All right. Commission, anyone have anything? Thank you, Ms. Lauer, for being with us tonight. Thank you all for coming. Commission, thank you for all your hard work you do. We greatly appreciate it. And Ms. Ash made a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are now adjourned.